All right, hey everyone, my name is Mac.
And I'm Tay. We're talking game with Kaylin Williams.
Yeah, we are.
Thank you for being here. We're so happy to chat with you.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Okay.
I'm nervous.
It's going to be
Excited.
so
nervous, I don't know.
fun and easy. You're going to have a blast.
Easy.
With Kyra, last time we chatted, I started with a warm-up question. I have two for you.
Ooh.
My first question, how often do you call your mom?
Every time I get in the car.
That is love.
I
That is
love
love.
that for you. Shout out mom. Remind me what her name is because I feel like I
Missy.
see her.
Yeah, Missy. Yeah.
And you guys legit look so much alike.
Yeah.
It's so funny. Did I tell you about the time when I think we were at the Dome. We must have been playing at the Dome. But she was in that same like gold GMC that you drive.
Oh, yeah.
And I literally went up to the window and I'm like, I look like such a freaking idiot. She's like, who is this? Who are you? It was so funny, but she was so nice about it after that, so that was great. Okay, second question. Did you ever watch Powerpuff Girls?
No.
Okay.
What?
Not to the point where I would remember the characters or what was going on.
That's okay. I was going to ask you which one, but let's do a different show. What about SpongeBob?
Ooh.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, which SpongeBob character would you consider yourself?
I've never thought about it.
That's hard because they're all so
they're all
weird, but
There
so
are a
funny.
lot of characters. I don't know who I would be either.
I don't know. I think it probably just depends on the mix of like energy. Like I'm either Squidward or I'm SpongeBob, depending on.
Depends.
Like it's
Depends on the
very night
morning.
and day. Like I can get either one probably.
She's got multiple personalities.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Mac, who you got?
I was also thinking SpongeBob, but there's also sometimes I'm Gary the Snail. You know, I'm just doing my thing, crawling around,
Yeah, I feel that.
meowing.
Don't get me started on meowing. Yeah, I don't know who I would be either. I'd probably be SpongeBob. Sometimes I feel like Patrick, just because he's so, what's a good word? Like in his own headspace.
Yes, he's very himself.
Yeah. He's interesting. Okay.
And you're a star.
Stop. Thank you. Okay. Why don't we get into a little bit of your background, what sport looked like for you through high school, and then we can kind of chat about college too.
Okay. Like all the way from, just high school and on, or whatever.
Wherever. Yeah, we'll start from high school and then we can make our way to college.
Yeah. Sport for me looked like we had club soccer, not in the fall, and then I would play high school in the spring, and then I also played golf.
Oh.
All 4 years,
She's
which
a
is a
golfer.
little played it, wasn't great at it. But had fun. You got out of school for a full day, got a good meal. So
you got out of school for a full day to go
Golf is long.
try to
it
hit
was
a golf ball?
premeditated.
You knew what you were doing.
Yeah, I knew what I was doing, picking golf. And then my dad played golf, so just something to do, with him. My mom plays soccer. My dad plays golf, so
Dang.
a little bit of both.
Best of both worlds.
Yeah, it was
Dual
fun.
athlete over here.
Yeah.
Sheesh. Okay, but how hard is it to hit a golf ball? Be serious. Scale 1
so
to 10.
hard.
Okay, thank goodness you said that,
It's so hard.
because I hit a golf ball maybe 1 out of 10 shots.
Yeah.
It's one thing
Yeah.
to hit it. It's also another to hit it where you want to hit it.
Why is it so hard?
That is very true. And there's like a piece of it of, if you're athletic enough, you can pick it up, not pick it up well, but you can have some good shots.
Yep.
And I would be, whenever I was in high school, I would go into these tournaments and I would be like in the number 1 heat. Our golf team was not very good. But I would be playing with these girls that were like
Legit.
They had this little like binocular thing. They're like getting out and they're like bending down. And I was just getting up there and freaking swinging.
Swinging the thing.
And so it was it made it easier because they were taking it very serious, and so I was like, okay, I can just have fun, and if I hit a couple good shots, I'm happy, and
that's awesome.
Keep me bring the snacks, and I'll make it through the day.
That's actually so hard.
Yeah, it's hard though.
It's so hard.
It's so hard.
But I think that brings up a really good conversation about, I feel like kids are finding their niche sport at 10 years old.
Yeah.
Do you feel like having that experience with golf also helped you in your soccer career?
I would say yes. I think it was actually a big part, just the mentality part of going from a team sport to then you're by yourself and trying to handle, one, how hard it is, golf in general, playing a new sport, being in a sport that you don't have your teammates around, and then similarly pairing it to goalkeeping as far as I'm on a team when I'm playing soccer, but my individual position is very individual at times.
Yes.
So the mentality part kind of switched back and forth of it felt very similar in some of the attributes that the sport brought out.
Yeah.
And the mental component.
Yeah.
How hard of a mental game golf is, but then at that same time being a keeper too, and the pressures that you have on yourself throughout a game.
Yeah. Big growing part of that, of trying to figure out how to handle, getting scored on versus whiffing the ball. Try not to throw your golf club. Try not to kick the post. Either way, it was kind of the same. So throughout the 4 years, it was kind of just a big growing piece, really, on the mental side rather than the physical side.
Yeah. The mental side is huge. Do you feel like there was any overlap physically too, especially being that you are a goalkeeper and golfing has a lot of rotational movement, rotational power? Do you see any of that?
Yeah, maybe. I think the biggest, and I find I try to relate it in a lot of the sessions, whenever I coach. I'm like, have you ever swung a golf club? And the kids are like, no. And I'm like, all right, well, I guess that's a bad, it's a bad analogy, but swinging a golf club and making good contact on the ball, using a golf club is how I relate trying to hit a long ball to some kids, as far as, when you make good contact with the golf ball, it's the same with your foot. When you're swinging through and you're swinging down the ball line and not your body line, there's just it relates a lot as far as positioning and how you're striking through a ball rather than maybe rotating through and actually the power component of it.
Yeah.
I guess it relates more than you would think.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
In my mind.
Yeah, no, definitely. Do you feel like, because you work with other goalkeepers and with kids, do you feel like a lot of them are exploring different sports? Do you feel like they're immediately, I'm going to be a goalkeeper, I'm going to stay here?
I think it has changed a lot now where the goalkeepers are on the field, they're still playing on the field further into their development, that piece of, a few years ago, I think, when I first started coaching, I noticed a lot of the goalkeepers at a young age, they were just strictly goalkeepers. And now I'm saying that these goalkeepers are still maybe playing on another team, so the practices or games are going up, but they're playing on the field. And
freaking love it.
That's, in my mind, it's huge. I think that it's important to be a good soccer player first before being a goalkeeper. So,
what was your path into becoming a keeper?
I think similarly to some of the kids that get in it and then don't get out. My mom played. I got stuck in there because I was willing to throw myself on the ground. So
you were one of the crazy kids that wasn't afraid of the ball.
Yeah, and my mom played soccer, and one of her best friends' husband was a professional goalkeeper. So I did training with him and his two kids, and then I never got out of the goal, really. Unless it was for fun.
So shout out to Missy is what I'm hearing.
Shout out Missy.
Yeah, depending on how you want to look at it. I think though at some point I feel like every goalkeeper is kind of getting past, if you're getting past your professional playing career or whatever, you just want to be a field player.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a secret 9. I just want to go and
dude, and you're so
score
good.
goals.
You're so good up there. Like, every time you go play forward, I'm like, oh my gosh, Kaylin is about to freaking score before anyone else.
It's so fun.
It's amazing, but I feel like that also, playing a 9 and also having the experience as a keeper, you kind of know what's going through the keeper's thought processes too. So that's
totally
a big help, I would say. Cool. Tell us a little bit more about your college experience. How'd you get recruited? Were you heavily involved? Not so much involved? Like, I made my mom pretty much do everything because I was terrified. So
yeah, I think there was not like a ton of direction on what it looked like to be recruited
100%.
when we were going through it. So a lot of it was like, send out these emails and this is the structure. And my parents were very, probably helpful to a point where maybe now, like nowadays, as a college coach, I want to see that the player wrote it and not the parents, but
they want to be here.
Yes. But yeah, I sent out emails, and then I ended up going to Eastern Michigan, and they saw me during a warm-up in like a National League event for club in Florida. And so I wasn't even playing, but they saw me in warm-up. I was
dang, they saw you in warm-up and we said, yes, her.
Yeah, well, I didn't end up playing. And so I think they talked to my coaches. I think I played the following game. The other goalkeeper on our team was committed, so it just ended up being
the perfect time.
Being good. But I think I went for like my unofficial visit, and it was like, I remember having this talk with my coaches after, like a couple of years in. They're like, I didn't think you were going to come. The unofficial visit rolls around, I get there, and it's like the worst winter storm they've ever had. Like, it took us forever to get there, and I was like, I love it. This is awesome.
Trekking through snow.
Well,
I love it.
It's Michigan's cold, but we had like a bubble where we were practicing inside. The temperature's like regulated. Here, you're just like
out in the cold.
You're just out in the cold. So I'm like, yeah, this is nice.
That is pretty.
It's cold, but it's nice. So
I will not be doing cold weather anymore, ever again. I had a question. Oh, it going back to reaching out to coaches. Now that you are on the other end and you're also an assistant coach, what would you tell yourself now? Like, what would you tell yourself to write to a coach that you are pursuing, or school that you're pursuing?
Just to really just make it like an individual email, to where it's not generic, and that you actually have a interest in what the school and what the team provides. You can tell whenever it's generic and they're just like pushing out emails, versus you can tell whenever a kid is sending, or a player sending in an email, and you're like, oh, you actually looked up, you have the right program. Because you'll get emails that they don't even, like, we don't have that program. But
or that's not my name.
Yeah. Right. I remember doing that. I did that as sending out emails. I sent it to one school, and it wasn't the right school.
Oof.
And they emailed me back like, I think this was meant for so-and-so. I was like,
yep, shit, they emailed you back. Oh, that's scary.
But it happens. I mean, I guess
100%.
I would rather see that and, be willing to respond to a kid that's trying, and, just trying to make the effort, because at that point, they're interested.
Definitely.
So really just to show interest, I think, is the main thing.
Yeah. I wish somebody would have told me to just be my genuine self. I was so worried about saying the right things and being so professional about it, because I feel like that's what they told us to do. But now that, again, we're on this other side receiving emails, the ones that I remember are like these kids being so authentic and using their own vernacular, and it's so funny sometimes.
So
I'm like, who is this person, or what is she talking about? She's hilarious.
Yeah, I would say the only thing to be professional about is like the grammar and the spelling.
Yeah. Yes.
Like, don't type out an email and send it with a bunch of errors where you're like, okay, did you even, thanks for the email, but did you even
look this over?
Did you type this on your phone and then just let it go? But
yeah,
I think just being authentic and, you know, making it, you know, important in the way that you tried to make an effort to talk to a coach that's an individual and not just pushing it out as, you know, a big, just mass email.
Do you recommend that too for kids that are going to ID camps or like going to the school for a summer camp to email the coach beforehand? Before those events too, not just games?
I would, because then, you know, you get out there to a showcase as a coach and you just jump around, and unless you kind of already have it in the back of your head or like on paper that, you know, this player is going to be is interested, saw their email, it was a good email, now I'm going to go watch. And if I don't have it down on paper, I'm just jumping around looking for
looking for numbers.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Looking for names. Yeah, no, I think that's huge too, especially when there are just so many kids.
Yes.
There's.
It's crazy. It's crazy. Okay, tell us a little bit more about your experience at school. Did you love it? Did you have fun? What'd you think?
Yeah.
School and soccer-wise.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely different being, I'm an only child, so going from Missouri to driving to Michigan and it being 11,
it's a big move.
12 hours. Yeah, it was a big move. I personally enjoyed it a ton being away. I kind of had the mindset before going in that, you know, I'm probably going to move back home after, so go spend time somewhere else.
Be there. And when you're in season, you're not going home. I mean, at that point, maybe an 11-hour difference versus 4 or 5, you're still, you're not going home.
Yeah.
You know, so, I really enjoyed the soccer aspect and the school aspect. I think really whenever I got into my senior year, just realizing how fast it goes by. You're like wishing for another year. It's insane that it goes by so fast.
So fast.
Yeah. And I think my senior year, like one of our last games in non-con, I got hurt. So I was out for, you know, the entire conference year my senior year.
No.
So that was, you know, challenging, but gave like another twist and just, you know, the story and how everything ended up working out.
So you weren't able to redshirt then?
No.
Because it was too deep into the season?
Yeah. Yeah.
Dang.
And I got back for our last game, you know, before we went into the conference tournament.
Mm-hmm.
So just an interesting, like, ripple effect of just how everything played out. But yeah, overall, I mean, my teammates were great. The coaches were great. Loved my goalkeeper coach. I still keep in contact with him. Yeah, he was like the main reason why I went. So it was just, a really good learning experience. Individual, like, growth outside of soccer, like just growing up.
Oh my gosh,
is probably the biggest. But then the soccer part too is like,
it's crazy.
You know, that's why you're there, but you get so much more out of it.
So much overlap. It's amazing.
Yeah, what you'd think.
Yeah. How did you navigate going through injury through your non-conference conference play?
It seemed like so important at the time. Like, I remember them telling me that, so I broke the bones around my eye.
Those are kind of important.
And kind of important, the vision, you know. But so I initially just had like a big swollen black eye.
Cute.
So I'm like, it was great. I got on the bus and I'm like, this is
hey guys,
something.
Was it a ball?
No, it was a knee. Sad for the girl that did it as well. She tore her ACL before she got. It was like a 1v1. So I went for the ball. She did not jump and just slammed into me. So we're both on the ground crying. I'm like sitting over there like, why are you crying? Like,
you ran into me.
Yeah, like, you nailed me. Like, why are you on the ground? You know, but so I remember just kind of like having the ball in my hands and the referee's like trying to get it. And I'm like, what's going
happening?
On? Yeah. My coach like comes up. He's like, oh, you're fine. I look at him. He's like, oh, and I was like, oh yeah, this is not good.
You're like, try again.
By his reaction, walking over to the bench and everyone's like, oh my God, this is bad.
Oh,
cool.
That stinks.
But it seemed like such a big deal at the time of like being out.
Yeah.
And then now like
scary.
going back and like thinking about it, I think I navigated it, I think, as best as I could. And at that point was just trying to support the other goalkeeper.
Yeah, and that's huge.
In that piece of like, okay, now you're like, this is what our goal is at the end of the season. How can we get everybody there and get, you know, being in that captain role, and then also trying to, you know, give all the confidence to this goalkeeper that's coming in is easier actually to focus on that aspect, like focus on the team, focus on the goalkeeper, kept me busy from like thinking about like, oh, I'm out. And,
that's good.
You know, what it means for me. It wasn't really, that wasn't like the main thought really, which was nice.
Yeah, I'm sure she really appreciated that too. That's cool.
Yeah, she was awesome.
Do you feel like your coaches pressured you at all to get back on the field sooner than maybe would be acceptable?
So I think it's like a balance, because I also was like, I want to play. And I had a weird with all of this. I had like went in to see the doctor. They were telling me I needed to get surgery. I needed to get a plate put in under my eye because I was having bad double vision for like, you know, months. If I was looking straight and then looking anything downward, I had double vision.
Oh, that's awful.
So that was not, that was a different piece of like, oh, I have a black eye. Oh, like it's broken, but whatever. That part layered into it. Yeah. So getting back, you know, it was close to, we had to win our game to get into the conference tournament. I'm like, I really want to play. They're like, are you, you know, I also, though, like, I have double vision. So, like, you know, but not bad double vision, you know, just like really like directly under me. So it was like a balance. I ended up playing, you know, I had like these rec specs on, like the goggles.
I love that.
Which was a whole other piece. It's like raining and I'm sitting there
trying to
wipe these goggles off and like put them on top of my head, and the trainer, you know, trying to like look over at the trainer, like it's like more dangerous to have these things on than to like have them on. But I think at that point it was a very mutual decision. Yeah. So it ended up being okay. So.
Yeah, I'm glad.
How was your like the confidence in yourself? I feel especially as a keeper, like you coming back from an injury, but then also keepers that split halves or someone gets hurt and you're like called to step up in that moment is a lot of pressure to be like fully confident in yourself and be like, I have to own this moment and own my skills. Was that a challenge at all, or did you feel like you were ready for that?
Similar, my freshman year, we had a senior goalkeeper and she got hurt. So I had to similarly do like what the goalkeeper under me did.
Oh, wow.
And then coming back in, and there's a piece to it where if you're injured, you're kind of thinking, okay, go back to the basics. You're not trying to overdo anything. And some of my best games I've played, I've been, you know, had something going on where I don't feel my best. Mm-hmm. So I think it's just like the mental component of it, especially the goalkeeping position. I think it's just so much more mental than it is anything else.
Oh, yeah.
So just finding a way to get locked in and be mentally there is the biggest challenge. And I think that all just comes from like the preparation side. Mm-hmm. So
she's locked in.
Yeah.
Do you feel like your preparation looks different than the field players? What do you feel like you're doing differently?
Yeah, no, not necessarily.
Yeah.
I think it's just like a headspace for me, and it's changed over the years of like the things that I've done to prepare, you know, my freshman year to like now when I prepare for a game looks way different. So it's kind of cool to see like the evolution of like what that looks like.
She's evolving.
Yeah, but I think it looks different. Everybody has like their superstitions or how they prepare, and
so many superstitions.
There were some funny things in college that some of my teammates would do, man. Yeah. Did you have any?
The way I tied my shoes in
that's
college.
A classic.
Yeah, was big. And then like all my class, we got like we all went, and I think they had like Nike sports bras on sale or something. And they're like they were hideous.
Oh no.
Everybody, we wore them, you know, for like some of us, like, I think I wore mine, like,
Every game.
Yeah, like all 4 years. They were already
I
hideous
love that.
by the 4 years. Yeah, so that was fun. And then, like, headband, like, I have the same headbands that I wore in college. I wear now, like, for Courage or, like, when I was playing pro.
It's
the same one.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That is so funny. Okay,
I don't know what the brand is. I wish I could give them a shout out. They've held
the only
up.
one I got.
Give them a shout out. Sponsor Kaylin.
Yeah, right.
That's hilarious.
It's gotten you this far.
They're still in pretty good condition, so
I believe it. Tell us a little bit about your pro experience, because I think it looks different than most. How you navigate
it's not traditional.
What? What?
Is there traditional?
Yeah, that's true too. That's a great question.
Definitely. I mean, I feel like everybody has like their own story, and it's all so different because the pathways, especially on the women's side, is unless you're like a lucky one that gets drafted.
Yeah.
It's like, what does it look like?
Exactly.
And I mean, I think everybody has the similarity of like, it's crazy of just how it ends up turning out. But so you're asking about pathway?
Yeah, how did you have an agent, I'm assuming, and
yeah, it was weird because so I graduated in 19. I came home, finished up an internship, and then COVID hit. So it's like
perfect timing.
Yeah, no traveling. The world is shut down, and I'm like, I wanted to continue to play. So I'm like, I don't know what this looks like. COVID happened. Just as far as like decisions I made, I chose not to get vaccinated, so that shut down like a lot of opportunities. But really just like, one, trying to stay fit.
Yep.
And be in a position where if I do get a call, and at this point I didn't have an agent, it was just kind of on my own. I'm doing, when it comes to like the NWSL, I'm doing research of what team has what goalkeepers. Are those goalkeepers going to go on loan? Where did they come from? How long have they been there? So like,
dang,
just
it was
a
yourself
list in my notes on my phone. It's like, each team, a little bit about like how long are their contracts, just getting an idea, because if you go in and you have, if they say open tryout, which at the time I'm like, oh yeah, open tryout, that's a good idea, right? If they have 3 goalkeepers and they all are on contract for the next 3 years, you're like wasting
what
your
are they
time
looking for
at that point. So a lot of research into like what leagues look like overseas. There were a couple things where just like word of mouth, like, oh, I have, I know these people, you can go play over here. And then you get footage and you're like, that's
not the level.
Yeah, that's not the level I was
at.
thinking of, right? But there's gaining an understanding of what it means to be a professional, what the level looks like in what places. And trying to stay fit, trying to navigate how to get an opportunity. So I eventually ended up getting an agent. Ended up being here and getting into the first year that the Current was here, was in and out of just like practicing. If they needed somebody, the goalkeeper coach would call me at like 8 a.m. Hey, can you come out and train today? I'm like,
I'm there.
Yep, I'm there. Cool. So taking advantage of any opportunity that came.
And did you get that opportunity from an open trial, or was it invite from the start?
I think it was an invite where, because I was local, I was just kind of available. So that went on, and then it ended up coming up where like international replacement came around. They had been testing me, because they were in the bubble at that time for COVID still. So I was getting tested every time I would come in. They knew I wasn't vaccinated. And then international replacement comes around, and they send me the contract, and then they call and they're like, oh yeah, you're not vaccinated. Can't do it, sorry. So I was like, at that point felt like
it was your opportunity.
Okay, like that was my opportunity, and I'm not going to get another one. Because I wasn't really a part of the team in that aspect anyways. Like, I was really just coming in to just be a body.
Yeah.
At that point. So going through that, feeling like I missed that opportunity, getting an agent, and then just really like, you know, going through a period of time where, you know, I went to a couple open tryouts, nothing like ever stuck, continuing to train like in the off season with the girls whenever they would get done. I think we were training and coming in here and
just waiting,
trying to get fit. Yeah, just like trying to stay fit. And then, yeah, eventually I ended up having an agent that we went through Courage season. I made like a highlight reel through Courage. I got a message through a guy that I did an article, like just like an interview type thing for soccer players, I think. But a agent ended up seeing it, contacted me, and was like, we don't have a goalkeeper in our agency or whatever.
Yeah.
Do you want to fill this spot? So I talked to my agent. He's like, I don't really recommend it, you know, but you can. And I'm like, okay, well, I mean, I'm not going to be picky over here.
Yeah, you're like, I'm just trying.
All right.
And it was in Albania. So I'm like, one, let's look at the map.
Where's this?
Oh, where the heck am I going? And it was, you know, I thought it was Champions League. So I'm like, I could go over there. I could not play at all. You know, I'll be a backup. It's probably going to be just 3 games and then the league play. You know, found out like that week when it just like it went so fast. Or it was like heard about it in a week. You know, at the beginning of the week, thought about it. They sent me the contract, signed it, and I was out like the next Tuesday.
She was off.
And yeah, I was heading to Albania. But it ended up, I mean, so non-traditional, like a not traditional route for however you want to look at it, but ended up being like one of the coolest experiences ever.
I freaking bet, man, because who'd you get to play against? List off.
Yeah, we played, we ended up started our Champions League portion. They had already played their first leg. We were playing our second leg, so we played against Ukrainian team, and then we got into the round of 16, and we're like sitting there for the draw, and it's like PSG, and I'm like, no, you know, like the other Americans are like sitting there like, oh wow. And then the next one it's like Chelsea, and we're like, oh, what?
Here we go.
Yeah, and then that third one it's like Real Madrid, and you're like,
this isn't real life.
Okay, so we play all these teams twice.
Oof.
We're gonna get to go to these places.
Yeah.
Cool.
Is,
like,
really,
yeah,
really
let's
cool.
go. Yeah, and as a goalkeeper, I'm like, was just amped and kind of terrified a little bit because I'm like, oh, what's gonna, like, you just don't know what's gonna happen.
Absolutely.
But yeah, and I got to play in every game, so it was like,
oh, it was so cool watching you, dude. Like seeing you on TV. It
was insane.
That's my goalkeeper.
Yeah.
You did so well.
Thank you. But like going out into the tunnel, like these are like my first professional games, you know? And I'm like, we get in the tunnel and I'm like looking across and see like Sam Kerr and some of these like girls that are out there, like Ramona Bachman. And I'm like, what is going on?
I grew up watching you.
But
I'm like sitting there like, like, are we actually getting to play against these girls? And then you come out of the tunnel and they're like playing the Champions League music. I'm like, I feel like I'm in
this is a dream,
a different world. Yeah, it's insane. It was so cool.
And talk about trusting a process. I mean, to take the limb and go to Albania.
Yeah,
that's a big step.
It was, and for the like, it was just such an interesting view of like their country and women's sports, because you're going in, we qualify, we're the first team ever from Albania to qualify for Champions League, so the entire country is like knows about it, and the entire city is like going crazy, and you're walking around and they are like, Vlasnia, yeah, and you're like, oh, really? Like, this is,
that's such a cool
it was
culture.
Very cool. It was really cool.
That's amazing.
And it was really good for women's sports. Yeah. I mean, there and like in that culture and in that like
to have that
space.
Breakthrough.
And to have that breakthrough was, I think, so big for, you know, just what was happening there.
Yeah.
And it was just like a good highlight of like, you know, people are working hard like in these spaces, and the females are like really trying to get after it. And it was cool. Just how it ended up for the team was awesome.
Yeah, that's such a wicked cool experience.
Wicked.
Yes, I have one last question. Okay. I want you to imagine yourself having a conversation with a younger version of Kaylin. What would you tell her? Or what advice would you give her?
I would probably tell her to just be yourself and not be so worried about what a coach wants you to be.
Mm-hmm. Drop the mic right there.
Yeah, that's probably
No, you can keep going. Sorry.
Yeah. No, I mean, I just think I spent so much time, like, even in my college years of being, like, trying to be the teammate that, like, I thought my coaches would want to be, or be, you know, doing things. And I did things on my own, obviously, and it wasn't something that was just like, oh, so a coach would see it. But I just did so many things that was, you know, limited myself and, like, my personality, where I just, it's not that serious.
Yeah.
Like,
well, yeah, and it's hard in that environment.
Yeah, work, enjoy it, and, like, just
have a freaking
sit
time.
in it and, like, be present in what's going on instead of thinking about, you know, what other people want.
Yeah, it's hard, man, especially when we're younger like that. It's hard.
Yeah.
But I love that.
All right, so I don't know if you guys saw, but last year the soccer tournament launched. They've had the basketball tournament for a number of years. It's like $1 million.
TST, right? Yeah.
TST launched last year. This year they're launching their women's division. So it's a $1 million prize. It's spearheaded by Heather O'Reilly. Last year they had big success with the men's because a big part of it was Ryan Reynolds and Rod McElhaney put Wrexham into it. Got a lot of attention, but going to see the women in it this year. So just curious, like, what do you guys think about? This is like a lot of post-pro opportunities. Maybe some girls that played in college or high-level club stuff. Now they get to go play for $1 million. Is that something that A, you'd be interested in doing, or B, what do you think about the women getting the opportunity now?
I was gonna say, are we forming a team or what?
I'm there.
I'm so in. I want to know what the buy-in is, but my thing is, so they have 8 teams, right? Like the women's side, there's only 8 teams that get to enter, and then on the men's side, there's like 32 or 38, something like that. Why?
Interesting.
Why do we get 8 and they get 30? But it's the same cash prize. Same cash prize, but we play less games. Talking about we.
And there's less teams.
I'm down. We could put together a squad.
I'm there.
But yeah, I think that's so weird that there's 32.
It is
32
weird.
men's teams get to compete, but only
Not
8
entirely
women's teams.
shocked. Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What'd you say?
Yeah.
Yeah, and an exciting opportunity, but yeah, it's
Hopefully it just builds.
Yeah, could grow.
Yeah, we hope. I think it is cool that it didn't, because how long, I think, was last year their first year doing the tournament for the men's side. So for the second year, for them to figure it out and get a women's side. Cool.
Like it?
Yeah.
I mean, they've been doing TBT for like 15 years.
Yeah.
It's still exclusively men. So
Yeah.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
I think it's a testament to women's soccer and just how popular.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely taking steps forward for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Second one here, Kansas City was named host city for 2024 Copa.
Yeah.
2 group stage matches. One will feature United States men national team playing at Arrowhead, which is pretty sick.
That's crazy.
And then another one will be at Children's Mercy, home sport AKC. That'll be on the 25th of June. Is Kansas City like soccer capital of America at this point? Is it going that direction?
It's been in that
I was
direction.
going to say easy yes.
It's self-proclaimed, but it's
Yeah.
so true.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
definitely. Yeah, especially when, we have the first women's soccer stadium. That's huge. Hopefully that can, again, create a pattern. Maybe some other people can start doing the same thing. But no, definitely.
I think so.
To play Arrowhead, especially the men's national 70,000 people. And I'm curious, you guys think that they'll sell it out?
Oh, easily. Yes.
I think.
I would hope that we.
I think
Sell it
Kansas
out.
City would show up.
I think we will too.
I think they
Yeah.
will, definitely. Especially being in the middle of the country, too. I'm sure we'll pull people from
Left and
elsewhere.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
From St. Louis.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think they like joke around that like St. Louis is the soccer capital, and I was watching the Comets play St. Louis when they came here, and they had some guy come on, and he's like, I don't like anything about Kansas City because I'm from St. Louis, but something that the KC Comets have brought to them is their fan base is getting better in St. Louis, and he kind of said or alluded to it being like because our when the Comets are playing, people are showing up and it makes it fun.
So he secretly does like Kansas City, is what you're telling me.
Yeah, I think they're like he was secretly telling us that we were the soccer capital.
He knows.
I'll
he
take
knows.
it.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think just by virtue of playing Arrowhead, you're going to get international people coming in just to like see the stadium.
Yeah.
Yes.
Definitely.
I think it's a good idea. And this is going to come out probably a little bit after the new year, so I'm just curious what we think about New Year's resolutions as you get older. Is it still something you do? Do you believe in doing them? Is it good? Is it bad? What do you think? And do you have it?
I don't think there's anything wrong with New Year's resolutions. I feel like I don't really think about it year to year. I'm thinking about it like week to week.
That's what I was going to say.
what my goals are, or maybe
Yeah.
what my goal is for the next day. I don't know.
Weekly, monthly.
Yeah. What am I doing in the next hour? What do I need to get done? No, but I think it's cool when people have like really big resolutions. I guess sometimes that can be kind of tricky too if you're going too big. But no, I think it's great if you can be consistent with it and get to that goal.
Yeah, and if it's like a community thing where you're like partaking in something as a group and you guys stick it through the end.
Yeah, that'd make it fun. Make it easier.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not really a resolution person.
Yeah, I feel like I used to, but I haven't done it recently.
And I think the probably number one resolution that people do every year is get healthy, right? That's why gyms fill up at the beginning of the year.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you have any advice to anybody who's making that resolution, like ways to stick with it?
Do it with friends.
I was just going to say go back to the community. Like have
Yeah.
people that hold you accountable, work out with you or, eat healthy with you. It's not just you on your own journey by yourself.
Definitely. Yeah, and I think making your goals realistic is really, really important too. I just had a conversation with one of my younger kids this past week about reaching a goal, and he said he wanted to master this movement. And I asked him, "Are we going to master it on the first try?" And he said, "No, but I want to get better." And I was like, "Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are."
Yeah.
So yeah, no, just being realistic with yourself and, even having a conversation with yourself. I know it sounds weird, but yeah, just be real.
And for things to be tangible. Like maybe it's by the middle of the year that you hit this tangible goal. It's not just something that's out there floating like, oh, I just want to be healthier. Like, oh, no, how do you want to be healthier?
Definitely.
Like you want to hit this goal in the weight room or like go take, I know steps are kind of overrated, but it's like take this many steps throughout the day. Like having something that's tangible.
Definitely.
Yeah. And just giving yourself grace, I think, too. Like,
Oh, yeah.
if you haven't worked out for, whether it's a month or a year or 5 years, like, don't go into the gym and then be trying to, like, throw the weight around you were when you were doing it, like, 5 years ago and then be so sore that you're like,
I'm never doing this again.
yeah, like I can't even go work out tomorrow because I can't move. It's so easy to, like, go in there and I think especially for athletes or ex-athletes, you get into like adulting and you're not super physically active anymore and you go in and like your only way that you knew how to work out was like
100.
yeah, you're going balls to the wall about it and then
Then you're sad for the next 4 days.
What did I do to myself?
yeah, and then you don't go back. So it's give yourself grace and like getting back into it and enjoy it and do it with your friends and
Definitely.
don't take it so seriously.
That's it for me. You guys can wrap up.
Woo! Okay, well, thank you so much for
Yeah, thanks for having me.
joining us. Do you have any Instagram account, Twitter, anything you want to shout out? Get people training with you?
Yeah, I do individual goalkeeper sessions. Kaylin_Williams1 on Instagram.
Woo! Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Reach out. Get your GK skills
Yeah,
on.
come have some fun.
Yeah.
We should do a session.
I'm going to opt out.
Okay, so, I want to do this with the Courage so
I'm
bad
so
because
afraid.
I want, and with all my teams, like, I would love to run just a goalkeeper session for, like, all the field players.
It would be great
You know?
perspective.
It would be
Definitely.
great perspective, and, for, like, the younger teams that, like, don't have a backup goalkeeper, then
True.
kids aren't, like, getting in there and just being absolutely terrible. Like, you could just, like, if you could just have, like, a little bit of, like, understanding, it'd be so nice.
something.
And it would just be so fun.
It would be amazing. It would be
it'd
hilarious.
so fun.
Yeah, with that group, it would be top notch.
We should do it.
Okay. Well, let the coaches know.
Yeah, I'm down.
Don't you get